What is up, guys? Welcome to Cinco Symposium. Alright, we got some gun control being pushed by good old Keith Olbermann. He's sitting here, he's got a video going on about we need an economic civil war against any, gun business. So we're gonna break that down. We're gonna get into it. Before we do, please hit that like button, share the video, subscribe. Let me know what you think about the content I'm making. Alright, so here we go with Keith Olbermann. We are owned by guns, and only one thing will change that. Let's listen to this guy and all his brilliance.
We are owned by guns, and therefore there is only one way to stop the mass shootings.
Now, question, what does he mean by we are owned by guns? Because if he's talking about we're owned by guns because of the amount of gun deaths, which generally there's somewhere between, I think, like 30 to 40,000, somewhere in there, gun deaths every single year, which the vast majority of them are generally, like 50-60% of them are generally suicide. So people trying to kill themselves anyways. And if someone wants to hurt themselves, as a person who had a friend kill himself and was forced to get therapy or have a therapy session with a dude provided by law enforcement, told me, like, if somebody's going to wants to hurt themselves, they're going to hurt themselves. Nothing you can do to stop that. Whether it's with poison, whether it's with gun, whether it's with using gravity and height. So the vast majority of gun deaths are already just suicide, people wanting to hurt themselves, not hurt anyone else. But we're going to say we're owned by guns because that's the only thing I can think that he means, because the amount of gun deaths. And by that measure, then we're also owned by alcohol-related accidents, because about 40,000 people die every single year from alcohol-related traffic accidents. So we're owned by alcohol too. We gotta cut that out, because that works so well during the Prohibition time, right? And we own vehicles, we can just hammer it down vehicles. How many people die every year because of vehicles? We're owned by vehicles, we got to get rid of them. Nonsense.
It is to suffocate the businesses that make billions of dollars in profits off guns, to destroy the gun lobby, the death lobby, and the Republican Party that defends those lobbies and those businesses.
So we gotta fight an economic civil war, not only against the gun businesses, because they make money, and they make money by making a product that people want and that people find very useful, and people have, because it's their constitutional right, and it's the ability to not let our government run right over us and make any law that they want. The government is scared of the people because, for the most part, because they're armed. Like, you got 100 million people that are armed in this country. You know how, I don't care what army or law enforcement, anything you got like that. That's a situation that's difficult to deal with. They know that they can't just run over the people of the United States. The best military in the world, the United States Army or the United States military, couldn't run over, people running around in sand huts for 20 years. What do you think they're going to be doing against the armed populace in their own hometowns? That those people were trained in the best military in the world. It's not going to happen. And so as long as we have our guns, we are a threat to the government, and that's the whole point of having guns, is that the government can't take control and act a fool, even though they do in a lot of ways, and I think we've given into them way too much, and they need less power. But that's ultimately the reason for the guns, but this guy doesn't like that.
And the only way to do that is an economic civil war. The blue states have all the money. They must starve the red states into submission.
And I find that interesting. The blue states have all the money, and we got to starve them out to submission by using. So first of all, let's look at a civil war scenario. Like in a total collapse of like the economy or our country in general, what do you think that U.S. dollar is going to be worth? If you can't trade but throughout the country, and you got blue states versus red states, anything like that, let's just say in this crazy civil war scenario, do you think the U.S. dollar is going to mean jack shit? What's going to mean something? What's going to mean something matter is who has the bullets to fight and the weapons to fight, but also more importantly, who makes all the food? Food ain't produced in these big cities. You go look at where all like the stockyards are, or all the farms where everything's grown and everything's shipped into the cities. So if you are gonna, and it's more, there's blue states and red states, but more importantly, it's usually blue cities and red cities. That's the big distinction. And if you're gonna have a Democrat versus Republican type scenario, Where I don't care how much money, I don't care how much gold and silver and wonderful things that the people in the rich blue cities have. What are they going to do when they don't have food? You think they're going to sit there and be happy with all that money that they have? No. So in a civil war, I don't think it's the money that's so disappointing. It's the resources. And pretty much the cities don't have any resources. They just suck up all the resources. They get it transported in from the rural areas. So I think it's funny how that guy used the comparison of starve them out with money.
Or another 600,000 Americans will be murdered in the next 10 to 12 years. That and more in the Wednesday Countdown podcast, available.
Okay, 600,000 in the next 10 to 12 years. And I pulled up these USA facts on deaths. And so, I mean, it's kind of gone in and out. Firearm deaths. And it's 34,000, 31,000, 37,000, 39,000. Then 2,000 went down to 28,000. We were low 30s. And then back up to 2015 to 2020, the summer of love. 45,000 firearm deaths. And then there's by the age range. What do we got? And so, suicide. Look, every single year, the suicide's a blue line, and homicide is the purple line. So, every single year, it's, for the most part, it hasn't been really above in the past, 4-ish decades. It's at around maybe 10 to 15,000. 2020 was the worst with 19,000. So like I said, the vast majority of these gun deaths, so he says that there's going to be 600,000 murders in the next 10 to 12 years. Let's take it not even at its peak. We'll go above the peak and say 20,000. 20,000 people were murdered by firearms. The highest year it's been since 1980. 20,000 was, so if we do 20,000 times 12 years, that's 240,000 people. So he is drastically overestimating how many people are going to be murdered if you're just going to go by an average. Because we went above and beyond and even gave the homicide rate more than it's ever been since 1980. So it's a bit of fear mongering, It's the attempt to try to just control the populace and take away their guns. And I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. You're going to have a civil war, and you're going to have millions of people die if you try to go with that. And then we got the firearm deaths. White actually makes up the majority of it every single year, which I guess that's a population thing. This is another interesting metric right here. Look at where the vast majority of these gun deaths are. Non-metro versus metro. Look at the difference where most of these people are getting killed with guns. They want to be, like I said, we talked about, it's not so much about the red states or the blue states, it's about the blue cities. Vast majority of all these big cities are blue hellholes that are ran by Democrats and have been run by Democrats for years upon years. And this is where all the gun deaths are. And that's where most of the gun laws actually take place, is inside the blue states, but more importantly in blue metro areas. That's where a lot of gun control is. And that's where the vast majority of these gun deaths are. So it's total absolute bullshit that's being pushed by Keith Olbermann. Screw this guy. Come and take it. Everyone needs to have that flag. Come and take it. You're not taking the guns. Don't tread on me. And just for all, you got to find a fine line between supporting the police and where you're going to fly the blue line flag, but then you're also going to fly the don't tread on me flag. Kind of got to pick one. Because if people like this, if you love your Second Amendment, it's people flying that blue line flag are be the ones coming and get you. That's going to be the police coming and get you if it ever comes to a situation where the Second Amendment is really being attacked and they're coming house to house to get you. So, I don't know, just a little tidbit about the flags right there. I would choose the don't tread on me flag over the thin blue line flag. But that's just a little side note. Anyways, Keith Olbermann, you're an idiot. You're stupid. And you're just dumb. This is a dumb video by that guy. These idiots that want to take your guns. Don't ever let them. Never give up your guns. Absolutely not. Alright guys, comment, let me know what you think. Until next time, y'all have a great day.